afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Reds Baseball here at GABP. Happy Easter to you as well. I'm Jim Kelch, along with Chris Welsh. We can already see on this Easter Sunday that, yes, the Easter Bunny did, Chris, visit you.
It visited me, Jim, and in case the Easter Bunny didn't visit you, why don't you reach in there and get a lucky egg for you for the rest of the day? How about that red one there?
I see where you put all your eggs in one basket today, right?
I certainly did, and the Reds hope to have the same thing going with their pitcher on the mound today, and Bronson Arroyo, a guy that, you know, is at the middle of the rotation right now, had a rough year last year, has some difficulty trying to get left-handers out, but the Reds really need him. They need him to be consistent this year, to find that stuff that he had a few years ago when he emerged as the ace of the staff.
Well, Bronson knows that he's no longer a 1 or a 2, but he is happy and content with his role now with this Red staff.
Being 35 now, you know, I'm definitely not in the prime of my career as far as my physical strength. And some of these young guys are coming up, and I'm hoping they can, you know, carry the load and let me fly, you know, in the 3 and the 4 hole and give this team some consistency, but not lean on me solely to win ball games.
Well, if Bronson Arroyo, Chris, is trying to bounce back this year, so is Marlins pitcher Carlos Zambrano. He, like Arroyo, won only 9 games last year.
Can you believe that Carlos Zambrano is only 30 years old? I mean, it seems like he's been around for 20 years. All the antics that he has done, he has pitched against the Reds an awful lot. He's fashioned a 17-win against 11-loss record against the Reds, but you never really know what you're going to get with Zambrano, a guy that's very volatile. He may go out there and throw a shutout. He may go out there and walk 12 batters. He gave up a lot of home runs last year. They say his velocity is back, but his control is not. Look for the Reds to be a little bit more patient at the plate tonight than they were last night.
Well, today, the 33rd time that the Reds will face the big right-hander, Carlos Zambrano. Well, from a hitting standpoint, Zach Cozart has been the story for this Reds club this year. After the break, a closer look at the young Reds shortstop.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Fans filing in here at Great American Ballpark. Why not? The weather is beautiful. Let's take a look at today's weather report, which is brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here is Aaron Seabree of Channel 12's WKRC.
The weather for the game today, looking pretty nice. We'll start out with partly cloudy skies. Temperatures will be in the lower 60s, should be to the mid and upper 60s by the 5th inning. We'll see a lot more sunshine. Expect a mostly sunny sky. And then by the final out, temperatures mid 60s, mostly sunny. Overall, a very nice afternoon. Enjoy the game.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Well, Zach Cozart, Chris, has gotten off to a very, very nice offensive start.
Well, Jim Kelch, I know you're a cycle guy, and he has hit the cycle in the first 2 games of the season. He's hit a single, a double, a triple. Last night, a big-time home run down the left field line. That ball was walloped. And I'll tell you, everybody who's surrounded the Reds who have seen him play in spring training, and they've really believed that this guy is, he's not going to hit 600 for the year, but he is going to be able to move the ball, give Dusty Baker a lot of different options on offense, and he's going to be an important cog in that lineup.
Cozart 5 for his first 8 through the first 2 games. Well, the Reds won on opening day. The Marlins won on opening night. Today, the rubber game of this 3-game series to start the 2012 season. Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by Cincy USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati, USA. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Bronson Arroyo toes the rubber for Game 3 of the 2012 season. He'll get Jose Reyes to lead things off. Bronson, a 9-game winner 1 year ago. And he makes his 9th career start against this Marlins group. Reyes in the air on this ball on an 0-1 pitch, and Drew Stubbs will handle it. And a nice start for Bronson Arroyo. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Ozzie Guillen's Miami Marlins here this afternoon. Reyes, then Emilio Bonifacio and Hanley Ramirez. The middle is Stanton, Morrison, and Infante. Greg Dobbs gets his first start of the year at first. Same with Brett Hayes behind the plate. 9-hitter Carlos Zambrano, no easy out at all. here's Bonifacio. Three for 10 on the year. He stole a couple of bases in last night's game. In fact, they were talking about the Marlins 3 for 3 in stolen base attempts last night. Bonifacio burst onto the scene last year. You can see those numbers, a .296 average. Otto will field, race to the base, and safe the call by Marvin Hudson, the first base umpire.
You know, you can practice the defense of that play over and over again in spring training, go over it in your sleep, but it still does not matter. If a batter at the speed that Bonifacio has puts it in no man's land, which he makes the first baseman field the ball, it's up to the pitcher to beat him there. And quite frankly, sometimes that's simply not going to happen. Votto makes as good a play as you can possibly get, but I guess he just did not reach out to touch the bag until Bonifacio had already covered.
Yeah, it looked like on the initial dive, didn't it, that he was going to get there, but then he kind of got stuck in the dirt. Bonifacio runs very well, and he's aboard with one man out here in the top of the first for Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez came into last night's game without a hit. His first hit of the year was that 2-run homer in the 7th inning. That blast made it 6-2 in favor of the Marlins at the time. They went on to win 8-3. New position for Ramirez this year, down at the hot corner. And a shortstop his entire career, but he moves to his right with the addition of Jose Reyes on this team.
Well, if you're thinking about the stolen base, Bronson Arroyo is one of those pitchers that is very good in shutting down the running game. Will not pick off a lot of batters, but he only gave up 9 stolen bases last year. Reds catchers threw out 4. That catcher's really meaning mainly Ryan Hannigan, because he is Arroyo's personal catcher. But they do a good job in shutting it down, even against a fleet-footed Marlin team like they're facing today.
What a long look here. Nobody blinking, and finally Ramirez steps out.
I'm surprised that Ramirez took that long to finally ask for time. You know, that is the #1 way a right-handed pitcher can shut down a running game on any level, all the way down to 11 and 12-year-olds. If you don't have a good move to first base, sometimes it's good to keep that a secret and just hold the ball varying amounts of time. And hitters get out of sync, runners get out of sync, and it really serves to the pitcher's advantage.
That time Arroyo had Bonifacio going back to first base as he delivered the pitch. Ahead of Ramirez 1-2. Bronson faced this Marlins club twice last year. The last time on the 24th of August down there. A very, very strong outing for him. 8 shutout innings in a 3-2 Reds win. Delayed steal. The runner goes safe there. The pitch at the plate was called a ball. Bonifacio started to go, then looked like he slowed down, finally took off, and does get the theft to second.
Yeah, that was really kind of a weird steal. I'm not sure if it was planned to be a delayed steal or not, but he kind of gets a secondary lead and then bounces, goes. And that's exactly what a delayed steal is. The idea of most of the time a delayed steal is that you steal it on the infielders. If they put their heads down after a pitch is thrown and then all of a sudden the runner's on his way and you beat the infielder to the bag. Brandon Phillips was there in time, but the throw from Brian Hannigan was not.
So an opportunity for the Marlins here in the top of the first. Bonifacio, we mentioned, stole 40 last year. He's perfect so far this year, 3 for 3.
I would think for a guy like Emilio Bonifacio that stealing third base would be probably easier than second. Really nobody nearby. Brandon Phillips is quite a ways away. He's in the outfield grass. So Bonifacio, if he wants, can get a very large lead there off the bag.
Breaking ball, and Ramirez chased it, didn't get it. He's a strikeout victim. Let's take take a look at the defensive alignment for this Marlins club. Behind the right-hander Bronson Arroyo, pardon me, for the Reds, presented by your local Ford dealers, Ludwig, Stubbs, Bruce in the outfield, Cairo, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto the infield. Hannigan catches Arroyo. Of that group, Cairo makes his first start of the season here this afternoon. He made 48 starts at third base a year ago and has made 74 in the 2 years that he has been a Red. Down at third. So now Arroyo, and out away from hanging a zero here in the first as he gets Giancarlo Stanton to foul this first pitch away for strike one.
That first pitch is an important pitch for Arroyo. He needs to establish his fastball. It's the one thing that he seems to be really hung up on. How fast am I throwing? Can I get it back up there to 90 miles an hour this year? And last year, many starts he was down around 86, 87. But it doesn't necessarily mean the speed. You've got to be able to be deceptive, throw it where you want to. But most of all for him, establish that fastball as a pitch that he will throw so that they can't sit back and wait for his curveball.
His spring numbers, an ERA of just under 5, but very strong his last 2 outings in which he allowed just 3 runs in 12 1/3. Now he's going to get a fly ball to shallow right, which Bruce is going to get to. And there's the zero in the first for the right-hander Bronson Arroyo. The Marlins strand a runner after 1/2. No score on Easter Sunday. Today, if they can get game 3 of this opening 3-game set against Ozzie Guillen's Miami Marlins. Here's Dusty's lineup today. Same at the top. Phillips, Cozart, Votto, Ludwig in the cleanup role for the first time, and Bruce and Miguel Cairo getting his first start. Bruce Stubbs 7, Hannigan 8, Bronson Arroyo 9 against the right-hander Carlos Zambrano.
Well, like his counterpart Bronson Arroyo, Carlos Zambrano is coming off a very poor season. Won only 9 games last year for the Cubs. Pitched only through August.
There's a solid knock for Brandon Phillips on the first pitch to the bottom of the first inning. And Brandon, who had just 1 hit and 8 ABs coming in, is aboard.
Boy, don't you love those get-ahead fastballs. You know, one of the things the Reds will probably do today, because Zambrano has had horrible control problems last year and even going into spring training this year, where he walked 21 batters in 21 2/3 innings. He's a guy that has been all over the place. The Reds may be a little more patient, but there's Brandon Phillips jumps on that first fastball he sees. Got to like that.
There's Cozart, whom we talked about in the pregame show. He's gotten off to a great start. 2 hits opening day, 3 hits, including his first home run of the season last night. You were very impressed the way he turned on that inside fastball.
I'll tell you, anytime you can cover the outer part of the plate, hit the ball the way he did on his triple, and then be confident enough to hit it like that.
He corks one into left center field. That's going to one-hop the wall at the 379 mark. Mark Berry has Phillips racing toward the plate. He will score standing up. And Zach Cozart, with an authoritative double to the alley in left center, has given the Reds a first-inning lead.
Well, he is so impressive, Zach Cozart is. He keeps his hands inside. He doesn't loop with the ball. He's very quick to the ball in the hitting zone. And look how quickly he gets to that ball right there. That word will soon get around the league that do not try to get inside on Zach Cozart. He's just too quick in there.
Cozart's second RBI of the year has given the Reds the early advantage here. Now it's Votto's turn. Oh, he has 9 hits, no home runs against Carlos Zambrano in his career. 2 for 7 with that home run last night, to his credit so far this year. Zambrano appearing in his first big league game in a uniform other than the Cubs. 310 games in his career, 282 as a starter with Chicago, a winner of 125, loser of 81, career ERA of 3.60. It's a strike in there to Votto.
You wouldn't think that age 30 years old that Zambrano would be washed up. That's one of the reasons why the Marlins were interested in him. They thought that Ozzie Guillen, a fellow Venezuelan, might be able to handle him better than he was handled up in Chicago. Got to give him a new look on life. But the fact remains is that his fastball is nowhere near what it once was when he was winning 15, 16, 18 games for the Chicago Cubs. Back in those days, Zambrano used to routinely hit 95, 96 miles an hour. He'd pitch around 93. Now his fastball today is 89.
He walks Joey on 5 pitches, so he joins Cozart on the bases, and the first 3 have reached for the Redlegs. Let's take a look at the Marlins defensively behind Zambrano, brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Outfield, Morrison, Bonifacio, and Stanton. Left side of the infield, Ramirez and Reyes. Right side, Infante and Greg Dobbs. Brett Hayes catches. Carlos Zambrano pitches. Dobbs bumped out of his third base job from a year ago when they acquired Reyes and moved Ramirez over to third base.
Ludwig gets a first pitch fastball right here. He ought to be all go.
Turns away from that pitch. It almost looked like it clipped him.
That came right inside on him, running that 2-seamer in, but you can see by the radar gun readings, this is not the Carlos Zambrano of 2004, 2005. It's a little tougher to win when you're throwing 89 when you're used to throwing 95.
Now he's falling behind here. 2 balls and no strikes. You mentioned his heyday. He won double-digit games 6 consecutive years, including his high water mark of 18 wins in 2007.
He used to just bury right-handed pitchers with a hard sinking fastball, a splitter. Just a tough competitor. And you begin to lose your velocity, so you start picking around in the corners of the plate. You start missing those corners. Then you get behind in the count, have to come in there. They waylay you, and it's kind of a snowball that gets bigger and bigger. Last year, he threw way more cut fastballs than he's ever thrown before, mainly because he's lost speed on his fastball. Which, if you throw too many cutters, by the way, it'll cause you to lose speed on your fastball. So the cycle continues. As you try to fix it, it simply gets worse and worse.
Now that one came in there at 88 at 3-0. He's now at 3 balls and a strike to Ludwig. 1 for 4 with an RBI double to his credit this year. Bat and ball go beyond third base in a full count. You mentioned Zambrano, acquired from the Cubs in the offseason. He was acquired in early January for Chris Volstad, fellow that the Marlins for years and years were waiting on to become a top-of-the-line pitcher. Didn't work out as well as they had hoped, so they send him to the Cubs. Zambrano comes over here, and as Chris mentioned, hopefully to work better with Ozzie Guillen than he did some of the managers he had in Chicago.
Well, the thing about being in the same division as Carlos Zambrano, a lot of these hitters have seen him a lot, including Ryan Ludwig. He's had a good run of it against him. Up around 380 with some damage.
Ludwig just does stay alive on that 3-2 pitch. Phillips at the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning, solidly into left field for a hit. Cozart doubled him home on a double to the alley in left center. Votto walked on 5. Ludwig got ahead 3-0. Now he's at 3-2. And he walks on ball 4 that is not close. So here in the first inning, as Zambrano snaps at that ball as he gets it back from his catcher, and he's immediately going to get a visit from his pitching coach, and that's Randy St. Clair.
Well, St. Clair will go out to talk to him, but it was Ozzie Guillen, the manager, who was talking to St. Clair before. And Guillen has been quoted coming out of spring training that he is very concerned about Zambrano, his ability to throw strikes, which he didn't show at all in spring training. In fact, in his last spring training game against the New York Yankees, he walked 7 batters. So that's not the kind of way you want to break camp and get yourself ready for the regular season.
Last year during the regular season as a Cub, 56 walks and 145 2/3. He's always been a guy that's had some sort of control issue, but nothing like he's had in spring.
Well, you can have control issues if your strikeouts are up, but when you start losing your velocity and your strikeouts go down, those walks really begin to haunt you.
So here's Jay Bruce. Bases loaded. Nobody out. A run home here in the bottom of the first. And Zambrano continues to struggle in finding the strike zone. nice strike call there by our home plate umpire. The umpires today, by the way, on the bases, Marvin Hudson at first, Tim McClelland at second, Ted Barrett at third, and the man behind the plate is Brian Runge. Bruce takes the ball. It's 2-1. What do we know of Mr. Runge, Chris?
Well, Mr. Runge normally is known as a pretty good pitcher's umpire. Calls strikes 64.36% of the time.
That's his number.
That's his number.
Potential double play ball. There's one. Wide throw to first by the shortstop. Reyes means Bruce is safe. A run comes home. Cozart gives Jay an RBI, his third of the year, and it's a 2-0 Reds lead.
Looked like a tailor-made double play right there, and you figure with a big league infield, no problem at all. Reyes had a lot of chances last night. He made one error on the day, and he gets a nice feed from Bonifacio and simply doesn't follow through on his throw.
And what did Joel tell us? He had something like 8 or 9 opportunities on ground balls last night of 15 ground balls that Ricky Nolasco was able to get in the Marlins' first win last evening. So here's Miguel Cairo batting for the first time in 2012. Third year as a member of Dusty's Reds. He's joined now this year, Chris, by another super utility player, and Wilson Valdez on this team.
And I think you put Willie Harris in that same category.
Yeah.
He can play all over the place, including the outfield. Versatility, key word coming out of spring training for those extra guys.
Overall, the 17th year in the big leagues for 37-year-old Miguel Cairo.
In the second year of a 2-year deal. First time he has ever in his major league career had a multi-year deal.
Last year he hit .265 with a career best 8 home runs. Drove in 33. Mentioned earlier, made 48 starts at third base last year. Primarily because Scott Rolen was out, played only 65 games himself.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't play third base that much this year.
Right. And Dusty made the point before the game that he has many options down at third, including, as you mentioned earlier, Willie Harris. Bruce took off as Cairo fouls that ball back. And Wilson Valdez, who can play the hot corner. Todd Frazier is another guy who can play third. He's down at Louisville now, playing third base every day.
Well, they were high enough on Todd Frazier that they went ahead and traded away their longtime prospect Juan Francisco to the Atlanta Braves. Got a right-handed pitcher, J.J. Hoover, in exchange, and that deal, kind of a quiet deal right at the very end of spring training.
J.J. Hoover closed out, saved the first game of the Louisville season. Softly to third. Another run will score as Cairo gets the run batted in. Hit that thing just softly enough and allowed Votto to cross the plate. The 2 ground outs mean 2 additional runs, and it's now 3-0 Cincinnati here in the first.
Well, it's a perfect example of when you lose your strikeout pitch and you allow the other team to put the ball in play. Sometimes it can really hurt you. And a strikeout there hurts the Reds, but just by being able to put the ball in play, you score a runner from third base with less than 2 outs. So good job by Cairo, and the Reds have a 3-run cushion.
Here's Stubbs with Bruce at second and 2 men out. Drew 1 out of 6 so far this year. That one hit the push bunt single, his first at bat of the season on opening day. See what Drew gets here at 2-0 from the right-hander, the 30-year-old Carlos Zambrano. It's been an emotional up and down career for this guy. We'll take a look closer at that in the second inning. You mentioned, Chris, he didn't pitch after middle of August last year. That strike three call to Drew Stubbs, but a very successful bottom of the first for Dusty's Reds. They get 3, and after one full on Easter Sunday, the Reds in front 3-0. Bronson toes the rubber now with a 3-0 lead as we go to the top of the second. He'll get Logan Morrison to lead things off, then Omar Infante, then Greg Dobbs. Four-batter first for Arroyo. He gave up a hit to Bonifacio, but he was stranded. Morrison, who started on opening day down in Miami, and then last night 1 out of 6 with a couple of walks this year. Left side of the infield, shifted to play Morrison to pull, and he slices this one the other way, and it's handled out there by Ludwig. This game's storylines are brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Carlos Zambrano is indeed an emotional fellow, isn't he?
I'm not so sure that this video even needs narration. Maybe lip reading would be better.
Some of the incidents that he had in the dugout there in Chicago. That last one with Derek Lee.
And the timeline of some of his turbulent times. Announced in February he was over his anger issues. And he called his his own major league team, the Cubs, a AAA team later in June. In August, he announced his quote-unquote retirement. And then in September, suspended by the Cubs, and early this year was picked up by the Marlins in a deal that sent Chris Volstad, as you said earlier, Jim, over to the Chicago Cubs.
And he had made a start on the 12th of August down in Atlanta and was ejected from that game for throwing inside to Chipper Jones. That was a game in which he allowed 8 runs in 4 1/3. The next day, after he announced, as it said on there, his quote retirement, placed on the disqualified list on the 13th of August by the Cubs. It did not pitch again last year.
I think he gave up 5 home runs in that ball game.
He very well may have.
Yeah. And then he tried to drill Chipper a couple of times, and umpires had enough.
Phillips goes up the ladder but can't quite get there, and a 2-out single for Greg Dobbs in his first AB of the year. Hit number 2 for Miami.
Dobbs is a good, solid player. He was a bench player for a lot of his early career, and he, as you said, was a third baseman on a regular basis last year for the Marlins. But he's a good, solid player. Gives you a nice at bat. Of course, when you're facing Bronson Arroyo, I'm sure that Ozzie Guillen knows as well as anybody, you want to load the lineup with as many left-handers as you can.
Dobbs did a good job last year for them, hitting .275. Really the first time that he had played on an everyday basis. The former Phillies player this year bumped back to that utility role with the acquisition of Jose Reyes and the movement of Ramirez to third. Arroyo now gets Hayes right where he wants him at 0-2. This is a big out right here, isn't it? Because you'd like to get the batter here, and in most pitchers' cases, then you'd have the pitcher leading off. Zambrano not as easy as an out.
You could actually make an argument for Zambrano batting somewhere else in the order besides ninth.
Hayes fooled on that one. Arroyo gets strikeout number 2, and another 0 on the scoreboard here at GABP. 1.5 complete. 3-0 Reds. Louis Cardinals here at Great American Ballpark. You can be one of the first 7,000 fans tomorrow, Tuesday, or Wednesday afternoon and receive a Reds 2012 magnetic schedule and car magnet featuring all-star Brandon Phillips, presented by PNC Bank. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Select Kroger locations or Reds.com. All Ryan Hannigan leads things off against Zambrano here in the bottom of the second. Reds have staked Bronson Arroyo to an early 3-0 lead. He waits on deck. Hannigan on opening day on base once with a walk. He was 0 for 3. Zambrano 6 times was the opening day starter back in his quote Cub heyday. 6 times the opening day starter for the Cubbies. Morrison under this ball for out number 1.
Well, what I'm seeing out of Carlos Zambrano right now is a guy that oftentimes is working on the side of the baseball. His slider is somewhat flat, and his sinking fastball isn't really coming back very much because he works on the side. It kind of cuts it a little bit. There was a time when Zambrano would keep the fingers on right on top of the baseball, drive it almost straight down, and you couldn't tell by charting with him whether he was throwing a slider or a splitter. That's how much of a downward break his slider had. I don't see that today, and I haven't seen that actually for quite a while.
This has been a rarity for him here. He gets ahead, albeit of Arroyo. No balls, 2 strikes. Bronson had 6 hits, hit 105 a year ago. Phillips waiting in the wings. And strikeout number 2 for Zambrano. Puts him in a position to have a 1-2-3 inning if he can get Brandon Phillips. 2 men out. Zambrano, 3-time All-Star, 04, 06, 08 with the Cubs. Not surprising, 3-time Silver Slugger winner. This guy has some great power from an offensive standpoint.
Well, we'll talk about that when he gets to the plate, but keep in mind when he comes up and leads the inning off, he's a guy that has 23 career home runs as a pitcher. That's swinging the bat.
What do you think's a better hitter, he or Dontrell Willis?
I think Dontrell is
overall a better hitter. He was something to watch hit now, wasn't he, when he was here last year?
Although Zambrano's a switch hitter, gives you some versatility.
Brandon, solid contact his first time up, single into left center. Hit ball here, and Phillips is 2 for 2. He's made solid contact both of his ABs so far in this game, and the Reds get hit number 3.
Well, it seems like good things happen when Brandon Phillips has his mom and dad in town. They are here to watch this series against the Miami Marlins, and Brandon picks up his 2nd hit.
No, Brandon doesn't want to talk about it, Chris, but we keep reading and keep hearing and keep seeing tweets that the Reds are on the verge of signing him to a long-term deal.
I have no inside scoop. I don't talk to the players about that unless they want to talk about it. I figure when the time is right for Walt Jocketty to come out and say we've got this deal done or we don't have it done, that's when I'll take notes. Fortunately, I don't have a deadline, don't have editors on top of me like some of the beat writers do. They're forced to ask those questions every day, and I have to tell you that it puts a player in a very uncomfortable position because Brandon Phillips does not want to talk about money. He wants to talk about playing baseball.
Hard to the mound by Kozar, but Zambrano fields his position, and the Reds fail in the bottom of the second. They leave a runner, and after 2, lead 3-0. Second inning, the 1,000th hit of his career as a Red. He actually picked up his 1,000th career hit last year, but his 1,000 now as a Cincinnati Red. He becomes the 28th player in Reds history to get at least 1,000 hits, and he acknowledged the crowd's appreciation of that number. Arroyo goes to work on Carlos Zambrano. He's not cheated up there, does he?
I mean, he's a big dude. I mean, he is listed as 6'5", 270. He wants to hit this ball in the river.
August the 6th of last year at Wrigley Field, he hit one of his 2 home runs.
He's hit as many as 6 in 1 year. He hit 318 last year with the Cubs, hit 300 one other time, or actually 2 other times. He has hit as high as 337 in a certain year.
Smash on that ball, and Brandon thought he had it measured, and it just got under the glove, and Zambrano on to start the 3rd. If he had played, Chris, for Tony La Russa, he probably almost assuredly would have had him out of that 9 spot.
Well, you're tempted as a manager to do that, but how do you explain that to your number 8 guy?
How did Tony explain it?
I don't think Tony had to explain anything. He just did it.
He just did it.
When you have as many wins and championships as Tony La Russa, I think people don't question you.
Well, the Marlins have had 1 hit now in each of their first 3 innings. They have a runner aboard here. Reyes flied to center his first time. Speaking, by the way, of something you love to talk about, the cycle. We were talking about the cycle last night. And Omar Infante came within a single of the cycle. Nice pick by Cozart. Step and throw and a double play. Smoothly done by the rookie shortstop.
He made a play similar to that down in Goodyear, Arizona during the spring training season. And he's just so smooth on balls like that. He gets his glove down on the ground. He follows himself. Watch how low he gets on this ball to make sure that he sees that ball all the way to his glove. Makes a very tough play look easy.
So the bases are empty now for Emilio Bonifacio. Is completing that thought on cycles. The last player to hit for the cycle against the Reds, as Infante was trying to do last night, was Jose Reyes as a Met back in June of 2006.
Well, you know, when he was just, a double away from the cycle last night, Ozzie Guillen quipped to the guys in the dugout, said, you know what, if he gets a cycle here, I'm going to call Lance Armstrong and get him a real cycle, like a real bicycle.
The real one or the one that you use in your house?
No, the real one.
The real one.
And Ozzie, and they said, how are you going to do that? He said, I got connections.
I would imagine he does. You're wired in everywhere, aren't you?
Well, I'm wired in with Ozzie because Ozzie and I played winter ball together way back when we played in Venezuela in the early 80s. I mean, way back. And he was I think 16 or 17-year-old young kid. He was such a nice, polite kid. And I see him now, I said, well, Ozzie, what happened?
You say that to him, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'm not so sure that he even knew my name, to be honest with you. He used to call me Mr. Grease.
Mr. Grease. That
because on the name placard above our locker, they mangled my last name horribly, which is not really easy to do. It's only one syllable. But my first name was written as G-R-I-S. So he looked up at my nameplate, figured my name was Grease Welsh, and he called me Mr. Grease.
I thought maybe it was the product you put in your hair back in the day.
I still have some of that if you want to use it. In fact, I lent some to Jim Day.
And it didn't work for him either.
No. There's no bugs in the booth, though. It must be.
They've gone somewhere.
They've gone. They followed him.
Ozzie's always been, say what, late in his career when he played for Atlanta, always been an American League guy.
Yeah.
So a little change for him coming over to the National League.
He was a good player, hard-nosed player, same way he was as a manager, always talking, kind of keep the guys up around him, challenging the opposition.
Long run Ludwig. Will he get there? Yes, indeed he does. He slides afterwards, but he hangs on to the baseball. Nice defense out in left, and Ludwig helps the Reds keep the Marlins scoreless in this game.
If any Reds player hits this sign this year, they will win a Toyota Tundra, and we are rooting like crazy for Richard Bowles of Advanced North Carolina. He's your guy today, and if there's any guy that's going to hit it, it might be Joey Votto. In fact, there's a wind blowing out here, kind of a wind tunnel out here, boys, so if, might happen today, you never know.
Put your glove up if the ball comes near you and try to catch it.
I will. You still have that gold glove from last night? Did you happen to slip it out of Brandon's locker?
I did not. He would hurt me badly if I did that. And by the way, I get a lot of questions on Twitter. Has anyone ever come close to the sign? If you remember last year, Joey Votto split the smokestacks. He hit it above the sign. So yes, a player has come close. And I'll barehand that bad boy if he hits it right now.
Now there's no reason to lie on Easter Sunday.
Well, never lie, Jim Kelch. By the way, tremendous view out here. I'm digging this.
And let's see if Votto can indeed send one out towards our own Jim Day. Hits it well towards center, but playable as Bonifacio hauls it in. No home run this time, but Joey hit one well last night in the 4th inning.
This was the home run last year that he hit, and it nearly hit one of the smokestacks. There the ball goes in between both of them, split them perfectly, and Jim Day, you may have been able to, as high as you can jump, you probably would have been able to reach up and grab that if he had hit the same one today.
I got some ups. I might have been able to get up and get it.
You know, you can't tell it's really a wind tunnel out there because you're very much like Marty Brenneman. When the wind blows, your hair doesn't move.
Well, I also answered that question on Twitter today. What I use in my hair is Elmer's paste. Remember the Elmer's glue from back in elementary school? That's what I use. That's in my arsenal.
Don't you love Jim Day's sense of humor?
Indeed. I think he's a stand-up comedian.
We want more of you with the common fan, Jim.
Nice off-speed pitch there by Zambrano, 2-2.
I'll tell you, Zambrano really settled down a little bit after he walked Ryan Ludwig in the 1st inning. He got Bruce on a ground ball, fielder's choice. Cairo didn't hit it well, struck out Stubbs. I mean, all of a sudden, it seems like now that he's given up the lead and he's down 3-0, he's pitching much more aggressive and a whole lot better, keeping that ball down in the zone.
Dobbs and Zambrano combined to retire Ludwig. You could see him waiting there and trying to go the other way with the ball.
Well, he's very good at that, Ludwig is, and he loves that power alley in right center field. In fact, that's where his strength is. He'll lay off a lot of balls on the inner part of the plate because he's waiting for something middle away to really put that hammer to and drive that way.
But here's Bruce. He was up there with the bases loaded. Nobody out in the 1st inning, and it appeared as if he was going to bounce into a 4-6-3 double play, but the throw from Reyes back to first was wide. Run scored in the person of Cozart, made it 2-0. It's now 3-0 Reds here in the bottom of the 3rd. And they play him as a pull hitter on the infield.
Yeah, this is where you want to throw the ball if you're a right-hander. You have a little comeback inside fastball. They call that a front door fastball, where the hitter looks like it's going to be either in off the plate, maybe even hit him in the ribs, and then have it like come back at the last second and just catch the inside corner.
Infante throws out Bruce, and there's the first 1-2-3 inning of this game on either side, and it's recorded by Carlos Zambrano here in the 3rd. Coming up on the broadcast, we'll have our Miller Time moment for Easter Sunday, April the 18th. A Miller Time moment a little bit later in the broadcast. 3 innings complete. Bronson Arroyo, no runs, 3 hits allowed, couple of strikeouts. Hanley Ramirez first up in the 4th. Strikeout victim his first time. Puts him at 1 for 12 on the season.
You know, pitchers to individual hitters try to upset their timing. Fast, slow, never try to let them get into a groove. Managers try to do the same thing when they set up their starting rotation. Here's Bronson Arroyo in the third game of the year. You have Johnny Cueto, hard thrower, sinking fastball. Then you've got Matt Latos, not much of a sinker, but a hard thrower with a great slider. Then you get kind of a curveballer, off-speed pitch guy with Bronson Arroyo. Scheduled to pitch tomorrow against the St. Louis Cardinals. Hard thrower again, Homer Bailey, and then you go to somebody soft again and Mike Leake on Tuesday. So it's hard, soft throughout the Reds rotation, something they gave a lot of thought to when they wanted to put Bronson Arroyo in this third slot right behind Matt Latos.
Yeah, Dusty talks a lot about that when he is questioned about the rotation, why so-and-so is pitching in a certain spot.
I'm not really sure that it is as important as it is, but it's good that you have a plan and that you stick to it. And Dusty probably knows more than a lot of people because he was an everyday player. And he would face a pitcher one day and then another one and then following and so on. So he would understand how tough it is sometimes for hitters to adjust from day to day to different types of pitchers.
An excuse me check swing is going to handle Ramirez as Hannigan jumped all over that ball for the first out of the fourth. Let's turn our attention to today's AT&T trivia question of the day. Who was the last Reds pitcher to pitch 200+ innings in at least 6 consecutive seasons? Last Reds pitcher to throw 200+ innings in at least 6 consecutive innings. Giancarlo Stanton bats against Bronson Arroyo. Stubbs charging, and he can't get it. And a base hit for Stanton. His 4th of the year. He's on with 1 out.
Boy, the guy has never seen a fastball that he does not like. Giancarlo Stanton, or Mike, whatever you want to call him, is a dead red hitter all the way. Matt Latos got him into a situation last night where he knew a fastball was coming, couldn't throw it by him. It's almost impossible to do. But boy, if you have your choice, you'd rather throw him something that bends.
Well, Votto will hold him at first base, and Logan Morrison, left-handed hitter, steps in there.
Dangerous hitter here.
Marlins have now out-hit the Reds 4-3. Morrison, only 24 years old, made his big league debut 2010.
Had some issues last year. They sent him down. He had some clubhouse issues. In fact, it really embroiled a number of different people, including Wes Helms, who was the player rep on the team. And he ended up being released. Morrison got sent down to the minor leagues. He wanted to file a grievance with the Major League Players Association.
Votto has that ball skip right by him, and that's going to send Stanton on to third. Bruce will get that ball back in. That was an example there of the new way that all the Reds first basemen are trying to hold on the runners when there's a left-hander up there, but still in all, Joey couldn't come up with that ball.
Well, it doesn't protect you against bad hops, and that's what it looked like it took. He's off the bag in plenty of position. He's in a spot right there. Didn't really get his body in front of it. Thought he would be able to olay that ball a little bit, and it olayed right over his glove.
You see, though, where he was more squared up than where they are in the past.
Yeah, I still like guys right in front of the baseball, so that if it does take a bounce up like that, it's going to hit you in the chest, drop in front of you, and you're still getting out somewhere.
Infante has gotten the Marlins on the board with a base hit. 3 of them last night, another one here today, and it's a 3-1 game. Reds in front for Infante, his second RBI of the year.
Well, what they're doing now against Bronson Arroyo is they're not going deep into the count. They're not being patient. They're jumping on the first pitch they see. They don't want him to get the ability to velocitize those hitters where he adds and subtracts and starts throwing some changeups. Look there, see the ball, hit the ball. Infante is simply on fire.
He did not have a hit in their first 2 games, then comes up with 3 last night. Another one driving in a run here this afternoon so far. Here's Greg Dobbs. He's singled into right his first time. There's another first pitch swing. Ludwig will get to this ball. That's out number 2. The batter will be the catcher, Brett Hayes.
We showed you the graphic there that of the 14 batters that Bronson Arroyo has faced, he's thrown first pitch strikes to 12 of them. So, you know, you see these trends in the other dugouts. So you say, all right, this time around the order guys, if he's going to throw that many strikes early on, let's go ahead and swing the bat early. Let's not get into a position where we have to hit his curveball, which is one of the better ones around the league. If you get something straight early on, you let it rip.
Hayes lays off this one, which is a ball.
That was a curveball, and you know, Arroyo sees the trend of the hitters, what the adjustment that they've made, and he tries to make one more adjustment to stay ahead of them.
Is it playable for Hannigan? Indeed it is, as he makes the catch. One catcher retires another, putting an end to the Marlins' 4th inning. They get on the board. 3-1 Reds, middle of the 4th. Sports Ohio is brought to you by the JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Burger King, the proud sponsor of the opening week of baseball. 3-1 Reds as Dusty's group comes calling on Carlos Zambrano here in the bottom of the 4th. 3 runs, 3 hits for Cincinnati. Zambrano walked 2. They were back-to-back in the first. He has struck out 2. He has retired now. 9 of the last 10 Reds that he has faced. He gets Cairo to get it started.
Well, there used to be a time with Carlos Zambrano that if you did not get him early, I mean early in the first inning, you weren't going to get him at all. You started getting the big Z, a little bit of momentum going, and he get more and more confidence, and pretty soon you were looking at the wrong end of the scoreboard. He's buckled down quite a bit since that first inning where he looked so tentative out there. Now he's attacking the strike zone more. He's more aggressive with his pitches, and he looks more developed with his delivery. He's getting his hips and his shoulders turned much more. He was kind of herky-jerky early on, and he's much better now using his hips behind the baseball and actually using those big muscles to drive that ball to the plate.
Well, you talked about how big he is, 6'4", 270, 275.
Yeah.
Big guy.
By anybody's standards.
Right. Dobbs chases near the dugout, and he can't get it.
Well, what a great day at the ballpark. Beautiful afternoon. Pretty good crowd on hand here at Great American Ballpark. I guess the weather should hold up pretty well for this big series against the Cardinals coming up. It's nice to see the Cardinals twice early in the year. The Reds will play them 3-game series coming up tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then in the middle city of the next road trip next weekend, the Reds will be in. When they leave on Sunday night to head to St. Louis, I believe, next Monday and Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Washington, St. Louis, and then Chicago. In the air to left for Cairo. Morrison nearing the line. And that's out number 1. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, you can join Hal McCoy for a live in-game chat on today's game. Plus, it's the final day of the Masters. Find out who's wearing the green jacket at the end of the day. Get it all on FoxSportsOhio.com. Presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. Chris, you mentioned the Cardinal series that'll wrap up this opening homestand, and then that visit over there. Big series because they're, along with the Reds and the Brewers, the 3 teams that people are talking about at the top of the division. But people shouldn't hang their hat on those series if they happen to lose those series. It's not the end-all in the first 2 weeks of the season.
No, it's not. But, I mean, it's the first time these 2 ball clubs have sized each other up this year. Of course, the Cardinals defending the World Championship that I'm not sure if they've gotten their rings yet or not, but you know, they're going to be flaunting it, and it's a nice rivalry between the Reds and the Cardinals, and I hope that Those that can come out want to enjoy some great weather and some great baseball come out the next couple of nights to watch, because it ought to be a lot of fun to see what Mike Matheny, the new Cardinal manager, how his ball club looks, how they're going to set up.
New pitching coach with Derek Lilliquist, who comes in from the bullpen.
Right now the Cardinals are scheduled to pitch Jake Westbrook, Kyle Loesch, and Jaime Garcia.
A former Red Loesch, and the fellow who's really been tough on the Reds through his first 2 years, Garcia.
Yeah. Well, Zambrano's beginning to get it. There's a little bit of an off-speed pitch right there. I'm not sure if he still throws a splitter the way he always has, or whether that's some kind of a mongrelized changeup. But good downward action had Stubbs reaching, and a couple of strikeouts now for Drew.
Good word there, mongrelized.
I'm not even sure it's a word, but it is in my dictionary. Kind of like velocitized.
All that matters. Hannigan fly to left his first time. Reyes has a chance and throws him out this time on a low throw that Dobbs digs out of the dirt. Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings by Zambrano. 7 in a row that he's retired, and 11 of the last 12. Last Reds pitcher to pitch 200+ innings in at least 6 consecutive seasons. Of course, Bucky Walters, 1939 to 1944. That is before Bronson Arroyo did it. Bronson has done it 5 years with the Reds, 6 years overall. But remember, that first year was with the Boston Red Sox. Bucky Walters. Zambrano hits it hard but playable. That's out number 1 here in the 5th. Reds scored 3 in the first inning of this game. Ground out by Bruce produced the second run after Cozart doubled home Phillips to make it 1-0. Ground out by Cairo made it 3-0 Reds. Marlins get their run in the 4th. 1-out single by Stanton. Single by Morrison. RBI single to center by Infante. Arroyo's given up 1 run, 6 hits. Reds have 3 runs, 3 hits. Cairo in on the edge of the grass with Reyes up there. Reyes is 0 for 2. He hit the ball hard his last time up, and that was the nifty double play turned by Zach Cozart up the middle. Reyes watches that one all the way into the glove of Hannigan, and the home plate umpire Brian Runge rings him up for the second out of the inning. Parents, give your son or daughter a big league experience this summer with the official Reds baseball and softball camps presented by Safeco Insurance. All campers receive their own Reds uniform, special instruction from a Reds coach, on-field VIP experience here at GABP, plus a guest appearance by a current Reds star. If you'd like information on the official Reds camps, visit reds.com/camps today. Strikeout of Reyes, the 3rd by Arroyo. So he looks for his first 1, 2, 3 inning here. Standing in the way, Emilio Bonifacio. Base hit and a fly out is 1 for 2. Dusty talking before the game today about the start last night by Latos, 4 2/3, hoping that he can get some good solid innings today out of Arroyo. He's always looking ahead at the schedule and how many consecutive days. Today is the second consecutive, and the Reds have 3 with St. Louis and 4 with Washington coming up. So 9 straight days after the off day Friday before another off day, and his bullpen can catch up.
Well, it's always concerning to a manager when you get down to the bottom part of your rotation. How many innings those guys will be able to log for you. Fortunately, Arroyo has always been an innings eater.
Cairo handles that, and there's the first 1, 2, 3 inning of the day for Bronson Arroyo, who still owns a 2-run lead in the middle of the 5th. After every Reds game, it's Fox Sports Ohio's breakdown of the game with interviews from the players and the manager. Reds Live is brought to you by King's Honda in the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com. Reds post game, Jim Day, Jeff Picoro. Arroyo leads it off here in the home 5th. Struck out looking his first time. One of 3 strikeouts for Big Z today. And he gets number 4 here, a strikeout of Arroyo to start the 5th. He's now retired 8 in a row and 12 of the last 13. Here's Phillips. He's hit the ball hard twice today. Came into this game with 11 hits, including a pair of home runs career-wise against Zambrano. Well, we certainly hope your Easter Sunday is going the way you would hope today. Easter bunny this morning. You saw Chris. He had his Easter basket today. Part of our pregame show. Easter brunch. A lot of folks take part in that.
Well, in all the years that we've done baseball on Easter, we've had all sorts of different weather. This has to be one of the best weather years on Easter Day ever.
Yeah, what do you think? Isn't it something?
It's just tremendous.
Really, it's been a great opening 3-game series weather-wise, hasn't it?
Sure has.
As you mentioned, it's going to continue.
According to the weather report that we get today from Aaron Seabree, we're looking good. Well, Zambrano's on some kind of a roll right now. When you throw strikes early in the count, you can get those hitters to chase pitches out of the strike zone later in the count. And he's finding himself a little bit of a groove now.
Well, he had that shaky first inning. He gave up 3 runs, 2 hits, walked a pair. But since then, he has faced 1 over the minimum.
Yeah, that was
a
a base hit that was a 95 hopper up the middle.
Cozart tries to solve the 30-year-old Venezuelan.
Yeah, you see that happen a lot where a pitcher goes out, gives up a few runs in the first inning, and all of a sudden really slaps it down and starts to throw zeros on the board.
Flare into right field and caught by the second baseman Infante. A 3rd consecutive 1, 2, 3 inning, and now 10 in a row by Zambrano. As we play into the 6th inning of this one, Zach Cozart drove in the game's first run on his double to left center in the first. Scored Brandon Phillips. Jay Bruce produced a run on his ground ball that looked off the bat like it was going to be a double play that scored Cozart. Then Cairo's slow roller to third produced Joey Votto with a 3rd first inning run. The only tally of the game for the Marlins came in the 4th. The RBI single by Omar Infante that plated Giancarlo Stanton. That's where we stand now. 3-1 Reds into inning number 6. Both starters still out there. Bronson Arroyo to Hanley Ramirez to get the 6th inning started. Joey with a play, and he couldn't quite get it near the tarpaulin roll. Ramirez 0 for 2. He has struck out. Check swing bounced out in front of the plate, so he's now 1 for 13 on the season. And 1 hit, a home run last night. And a solid single in the left starts inning number 6 for the Marlins. They get hit number 7. Giancarlo Stanton represents the tying run in this 3-1 game. Reds in front in the 6th. Mask off Hannigan, and Hannigan with Cairo right there stays with it and makes the catch. 1 on, 1 out. If you're hitting the road, take the Reds with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Reds out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Reds.com to order and get more details. That's MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Logan Morrison bats. I'm not sure that wouldn't have been an easier play, Chris, for Cairo. Would you agree?
It probably would have been, but I think early on Ryan Hannigan called it. And sometimes if you call it early on, they're going to give you enough room to make the catch. Last thing you want to do is have somebody else call you off of it, and then you get in his way. And, you know, on a ball that goes straight up like that, it doesn't come down exactly straight. It comes down at an angle because there's so much spin on the baseball. Looked like it was going into foul territory. Actually would have ended up in fair territory.
Runner going, pitch out, throw down, skips on into center field. There goes Ramirez headed to third, and he'll be 90 feet away with 1 out.
Yeah, that's a play that really, if you don't have a chance on getting the runner, the middle infielders have to figure out a way to block that ball and keep it from going into center field. It was an off-speed pitch right there. It looked like a pitch out. It wasn't. It was actually a backdoor breaking ball, and that's where Zach Cozart, instead of trying to make a flashy play where you're going to pick the short hop and apply the tag, get your body in front of the ball, knock it down, concede the stolen base, but do not concede the runner to go to the third now with 1 out.
That's Ramirez over there as Morrison is in the hole, 2 strikes.
There's the run.
Stubbs will get to the ball, but there's the tag, and it's a 1-run game. So the stolen base / throwing error allows the Marlins to get within 1 at 3-2.
And that's one of those errors that'll be hung on Ryan Hannigan, but it really shouldn't have been an error because a good infielder can block that ball, keep it in the infield, keep that runner from getting over to third base. I think a lot of catchers get hung with those errors oftentimes, and it's a very misleading stat.
So Omar Infante bats with the bases clear. 2 out, a run in. Reds still leading 3-2. One thing that Arroyo's been able to do all day, and that is get that first pitch strike in there.
That's important for him because he's not overpowering. He has to be able to pitch ahead in the strike count.
Catches a piece of the outside corner there.
And the other thing that's really important for Bronson is to find a good release point on his breaking ball. Looks like he's done that. He's throwing it from all sorts of different angles. Last one overhand. He's thrown some sidearm breaking balls. He's a real field pitcher.
Drops down there, gets the strikeout of Infante. Number 4 for him, but the Marlins get a run, and as the Reds come up, they lead 3-2. Tom Brokaw for Boys in the Hall. The personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. This week, it's the Cleveland Indians Hall of Fame right-hander Bob Feller. Boys in the Hall, Sundays, presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat. Votto leads things off, home 6th inning. Walked and flied out today. On the year, 2 out of 8. Rolled that ball the other way in the 4th inning last night against Ricky Nolasco to make it 2-1 Reds. Zambrano on a real roll. 3 consecutive 1-2-3 innings. 10 in a row overall. 14 of the last 15 Reds have been set down, dating back to the walk to Ludwig in the 1st inning. Nasty breaking ball there. Votto strikes out for out number 1.
Nasty because it was the slowest pitch that Zambrano's probably thrown a ball in 10 years. 61 miles an hour, that pitch. That's even slower than the famed Daniel Herrera's breaking. That's almost an Ephus pitch. That's how confident Carlos Zambrano is right now. He feels like he can throw anything up there and get a hitter out.
That had a lot of north-south on it, didn't it? Woo.
You see that in fantasy camp, that 61-mile-an-hour pitch.
Morrison gets over there and handles that for the 2nd out. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike at the Newport Aquarium, the biggest gator in the country. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. Zambrano will try for his 4th consecutive 1-2-3 frame. Jay Bruce stands in the way. Well, he's just getting that thing and pumping strikes in there now.
It's a good feeling when you're a pitcher and you get in a kind of groove like that, that you feel like you can throw a strike with every one of your pitches. I mean, he's throwing no harder now than he did early in the ball game. He's simply locating his breaking ball, throwing his fastball where he wants to, and he's got confidence.
Working quickly, so much so that Jay stepped out on him there. Here comes his 90th pitch of the day.
You don't step out until you call or ask for timeout from the umpire. The umpire has to grant you timeout. If you get out of the batter's box and don't have timeout, it's a live pitch. What happens, happens.
High to right, deep to right. That one is Sundeck bound for Jay Bruce, his 2nd of the year. And the Reds get the run back. They gave up in the top half and now lead 4-2.
Well, it looked like he went back-to-back off-speed pitches there. That last one at 82 miles an hour, probably a splitter. And when Jay Bruce relaxes and just puts a nice, easy swing on the baseball, it results in good things. This swing very much reminiscent of the swing that he puts on a baseball that hit his 1st home run of the year to dead center field. Goes down to get it in that left-handed wheelhouse.
2-run lead again now at 4-2 in favor of the Reds.
It's a big run. I felt like the Marlins kind of stole a run last inning with that error that ran their man to 3rd base and then a sacrifice fly, and the Reds get that back. That's a big run.
Cairo hits this ball on the infield, and Ramirez and Reyes is right there to handle it. That one drifted on Ramirez. Luckily Reyes was there, but the home run by Bruce, number 2 of the year, makes it a 2-run lead again.
You know, winning 3-2 in the 6th inning, 7th inning, and giving up a 3-run homer. You know, making it 5-3, and that would just happen consistently. And you know, that's what I've been able to do over my career, has been able to close down those games that I've had a grip on late in the ball game in order to you know, win.
Well, he's dead on too, because he made 32 starts last year, 15 quality starts, and how many times did he have the lead, as you said, late? He'd have one bad inning, Chris, and it would do him in.
Well, that's why they play 9.
Well, he's working into the 7th inning here today, now owning a 2-run 4-2 lead. We'll get the bottom 3, Dobbs, Hayes, and then the pitcher spot.
That exact point you bring up, Jim Kelch, it may be a reason why so many managers now want to go get their pitcher after 6 innings. Because they feel like perhaps the hitters are beginning to learn that pitcher. They see him better the 3rd and 4th time up than they do the 1st time up. So then the manager can use his bullpen to play matchups, bring in lefties to face lefties and hard throwers to face guys that they think that they can overpower.
Dobbs is singled and lined out, so he's hit the ball hard twice against Arroyo so far today. Well, that's close, but fouled down toward third.
Well, last night I had a fan at the ball game, a huge Reds fan that I neglected to wish her happy birthday, Laura Dieters, who's celebrating her birthday yesterday and today. She was at the ballpark with her family last night. And Laura, you're 30 years old, so congratulations to you and happy birthday again. Ball on Bone.
Dobbs is down at the plate. He's hit by that pitch, so the Marlins will bring up the tying run. Well, if you're going to bring out the birthday cards and the wishes, let's wish another one. Birthday wish today, number 99, to Evelyn Vandervoort, who lives up in Cape May in Wilmington. Evelyn Vandervoort celebrating her 99th birthday, watching the game today. And our good friend Rob Butcher, media relations director of the Reds, has a good friend, Robin Reed, a fellow Wilmington High School graduate, under the weather at the VA hospital in Dayton. Wishing Robin the best of luck today.
Well, happy birthday, and we wish you the best.
Arroyo back to the stretch here. Down the line, and Cairo cannot come up with it on the dive. That's going to send the runner to second as Ludwig gets the ball back in. That went by the diving Cairo. It looked like it was going to be extra bases. Dobbs stops at second. He's hit by the pitch. Hayes gets the single. That looked like it tipped the glove right there of Miguel Cairo.
Now that ought to get some action up in the Reds bullpen. I would think so. After the first hitter gets on with a hit batter, and then now you get a rifle shot down the third baseline. Ozzie Guillen's going to go out and look at Greg Dobbs to see if he's okay.
Gabby Sanchez has emerged from the dugout. Now Dobbs will jog off. He'll leave the game.
Well, Sanchez has been the starting first baseman. Dobbs comes in to replace him today to spell a little bit of relief for Sanchez. Sanchez is no burner out there, but I don't think Ozzie Guillen just does not want to burn a pinch runner at this point in the ball game. Here's Dobbs getting hit with that pitch to lead the inning off by Bronson Arroyo.
Well, you are dead on too, Chris. Ball on Bone right on that back knee.
Yeah, Morrison's got some pretty good wheels normally. He's not running anywhere near like he should, and that's what Ozzie Guillen saw. They're going to pull him out of there. Not Morrison, but Dobbs is an average runner, but looks like he was limping a little bit.
Now Ozzie will lift Zambrano, and Chris Coughlin, former National League Rookie of the Year, comes in to pinch hit, shoots one to the alley in right center. That will go to the wall and may tie this game. One run will score. The other runner, Hayes, is held at third, 4-3, as Chris Coughlin jumps on the first pitch he sees as the pinch hitter and lines a double to right center.
Well, Ozzie Guillen trying to get his left-handers all used up before Aroldis Chapman gets loose in the bullpen. And he's able to run him out there. The left-hander Coughlin, a former Rookie of the Year player, rips that ball into the right center field gap, and it's a one-run ball game.
Top of the order now, and Jose Reyes, as Brian Price, the pitching coach of the Reds, pays a visit to the mound. Logan Andrusik, who worked in the game last night, 1/3 of an inning, up and throwing.
Well, it's not like Bronson Arroyo's run out of energy right now. He only has in the neighborhood of the mid-70s as far as pitch counts go. So he hasn't hit the wall in 100 pitches or 110 pitches, but I think that trip to the mound by Brian Price, as you take a look at the pitch count, has done two things. Number one, to try to make a break in the inning, just try to stem the energy that is going the Marlins' way. And the other thing is to try to give the Reds a little bit of chance to warm somebody up in the bullpen.
Reyes 0 for 3 today. Tying run at third, go ahead run at second for the Marlins here in the 7th. Reyes just does catch a piece of that ball. Dobbs hit by a pitch to start the inning. Hayes yanked one by the diving Cairo at third. Dobbs had to stop at second. Then he's lifted for a pinch runner, Gabby Sanchez. Coughlin as the pinch hitter. Stroked one solidly to the wall in right center field. Runner coming to the plate. Phillips thinks about it, but goes to first, and the Marlins have tied this game 4-4 with their second run here in the seventh.
Well, the Reds were conceding the run. They had the infield played back. At this point in the ball game, that run's not going to beat you. It's simply going to tie the ball game up. So Dusty wanted to make sure he got an out right here. Have 2 outs, a runner on third base. They've got a chance to get out of this inning and still not be behind in the ball game.
Now the infield in. Here's Bonifacio. Reds have never trailed, led 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. Now it's 4-4 here in the seventh. Arroyo, by the way, is due up third in the bottom of the inning as Arroyo works here in the seventh. Andrusik continuing to throw in the Reds bullpen. Thinking maybe something was on there. The Reds pitch out. Nothing shaking.
Well, you wouldn't normally have a suicide squeeze with a left-handed hitter. At least that's not the ideal setup. But when you have a hitter like Emilio Bonifacio, who handles the bat so well, it really doesn't matter. I mean, that guy could probably reach the bat out across the end of the other batter's box and get one down. So the Reds thought they may sniff something out. They didn't. Bonifacio just trying to get that ball into the air, into the outfield to score that go-ahead run.
He handled the bat very well in the first inning when he had that bunt single to the right side. Looks at that Reds infield, all on the edge of the grass. Go-ahead run is Coughlin at third. And he pulls it through the drawn in infield on the right side. Scoring Coughlin. 3-run inning Marlins. They take their first lead of the afternoon now at 5-4.
Boy, isn't that what you were talking about earlier with Bronson Arroyo, how it happened so many times last year? Even he talked about that, where he'd pitch a pretty good ball game into the 7th or 8th inning, and then all of a sudden they'd put a crooked number on the board. Here's what happens with a little breaking ball he rolls over on. With the drawn in infield, you create really no angles to cut that ball off, and it's been a big inning for the Marlins.
Dusty Baker out of the dugout. That'll spell the end of the line for Bronson Arroyo. Here in the top of the 7th inning, Logan Andrusik, who has been throwing, will jog in. Skyline call to the bullpen. Reds make a pitching change here in the 7th. Ballpark coming up on Tuesday, April the 24th for Bark in the Park, presented by Himes. Make sure you arrive early and check out all the great samples and activities for you and your dog in the fan zone. Plus, the first 5,000 pet owners receive a free collapsible pet bowl. For more information on Bark in the Park and to purchase tickets, you can call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/dogday. New pitcher is Logan Andrusik. Takes over for Bronson Arroyo. Bronson 6 in the 3rd, 10 hits. 5 runs thus far, 4 earned. Didn't walk anyone, struck out 4, hit a batter. That was the first batter here, the 7th inning. Still responsible for Bonifacio at first base. Hanley Ramirez is 1 out of 3. Andrusik worked in last night's game, 1/3 of an inning. 66 games a year ago. Bruce will settle under this fly ball. And out number 2. Andrusik came on in the 5th inning last night, relieved the starter Latos, walked Morrison, and then was able to get Gabby Sanchez on a ground ball. He faces Stanton here with a runner aboard, 2 out, 3 in, and a 5-4 Marlins lead. The Marlins will employ a new pitcher come the bottom of the 7th. Reds are able to get 4 against the starter Zambrano, including that home run by Bruce in the 6th inning that made it a 4-2 game. Zambrano will not get a quality start, but boy, he was very quality stuff from the 2nd inning really through the 6th, despite the home run ball.
He was only probably a couple of batters from being lifted out of the ball game
back in the 1st. He turned in 5 solid innings after that.
You know, when you get a guy like Zambrano, and he has such a history and a reputation for being able to get it together after maybe a rough start, you don't get him early and step on his neck at that point. Sometimes you don't get a chance to get him at all.
The Reds will need to do it now today against the Marlins bullpen.
Here's the situation right now. What's going on? Emilio Bonifacio wants to steal a base. Logan Andrusik doesn't want him to, so he throws over a couple of times. Andrusik really doesn't want to throw a fastball to Mike Stanton, who is expecting one right here with a speedy runner on base. Good spot there, threw it right by him.
Good look right there of Hannigan peering into the Reds dugout. Bonifacio stole 2 bases last night, 1 more today. Scored 3 times last night. Has a pair of hits this afternoon, including the base hit in this inning that plated Coghlan to give the Marlins a 5-4 lead. He's running. Foul ball.
Got him way out ahead in that off-speed pitch. That's a splitter that Logan Andrusik throws. He's got really big hands and long fingers. Andrusik does. It's very easy for him to wedge that baseball between his index finger and his middle finger. Get great spin on it. A big, tall guy anyway, 6 feet 8 inches, and throws it down. And there's the grip he's talking about. And the one I'm talking about, too.
He has his thumb
right on the seam.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of a feel on the baseball.
It's a broken bat ground ball to 3rd and a close play at 2nd, but out there is Bonifacio to end the 7th. Nice job by Logan Andrusik, but the Marlins scored 3 times in the 7th and take their first lead. Stretch time on Easter Sunday here at Great American Ballpark, and the Marlins own a 5-4 lead as we turn our attentions to the field and Jordan Woody singing God Bless America.
Help us honor these brave men and women and all of our veterans of service, and welcome Jordan Woody as he plays God Bless America.
The nation's largest 4G network, AT&T, Rethink Possible by CCHMC, Cincinnati Children's, in the top 10 for all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report's 2010 Best Children's Hospitals, and by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. 5-4 Marlins. We go to the bottom of the 7th. New pitcher on for Miami. This is Steve Cishek.
He's a big guy. If you go up and down the Marlins roster, you'll see nothing but tall pitchers on their team. He is 6 feet 6 inches tall, or 6'5" anyway. Steve Cishek, right-hander, throws sidearm from down around Laredo. A very tough right-hander on right-handed hitters.
Worked on opening day, relieved Mark Burley in the 7th inning of that game. Gave up a double to Zach Cozart amongst the 4 batters that he faced. He faces Drew Stubbs here in the bottom of the 7th. After striking out twice, he will test the arm of Reyes and is thrown out for out number 1. Drew is 0 for 3. To the plate, Ryan Hannigan.
Steve Cishek last year actually picked up a save against the Reds in a game in which Edward Mujica, who was acting as a closer at that time, blew the save, gave up a 2-run home run to Todd Frazier. They called Cishek in from the bullpen, and he retired the next couple of batters to nail down his save.
Strikeout pitcher, 55 strikeouts, 54 2/3 last year. Hannigan is flied out and grounded out. And now he's down 2 strikes. Willie Harris waits in the Reds on deck circle. Andrusik, nice job. Retired the 2 batters that he faced. Aroldis Chapman is now up and throwing in the Reds bullpen. Reds have had only 2 base runners since the first inning. One of them the home run. Lazy fly ball to center and handled by Bonifacio. 2 out. So now Willie Harris will bat for Andrusic. Take a look at our Burger King box score. In-game box for this game thus far. Phillips' first multi-hit game of the year. Cozart continues to hit well. He's hitting all 3 games.
Yeah, only 4 hits for the Reds, though, as you see right there, and they're lucky to have 4 runs on the board. Carlos Zambrano, after getting off of that bad start, gave up 2 of those 4 hits to the first 2 batters he faced in the ball game, and pretty much shut down the Reds ever since.
So Willie Harris now jumps in there to bat for Andrusic, and he swings at the first pitch and pops it up. Handled by Ramirez, marking the 4th time in this game that the Reds have gone down in order. So we will head to the 8th. Reds down by a run. Seven-inning totals, 5-10-0 Marlins, 4-4-1 Reds. 2 innings to get back at this Marlins club, who lost their opener at their new ballpark, Marlins Park, on Wednesday night, then came up here and lost Thursday afternoon. They bounced back with a win last night. Reds trying to take 2 out of 3 in this opening series. Have a new pitcher into the game, Aroldis Chapman.
Well, Aroldis Chapman really has to help the Reds out right now by throwing a 0 on the board. Reds can't score until they get their bats in their hand, but they need to get a 0 on the board and keep the game as close as they can, and that's where Chapman comes in. Numbers on him last year, out of the bullpen. A lot of speculation, of course, with Chapman perhaps going into the starting rotation at some point this season. But right now, he's one of those strong-arm lefties that is at the disposal of Dusty Baker in the bullpen.
Very strong first outing of the season for him on opening day when he retired the 3 batters he faced, 2 of them via the strikeout. He'll face Logan Morrison, Omar Infante, and then Gabby Sanchez, who after running for Dobbs stayed in the game, took over at first base. Lefty-lefty matchup here. It was a stat last year that was eye-popping what he did against left-handers. A 0.77 average against lefties last year for Chapman.
You want to stand in there against them?
No way. Not that right-handers did much better. Right-handers against him hit 180 and combined a 147 average against his deliveries. Gets ahead here 1-2. I know Chris talked about it before, but he has kind of gone now with the theory that less is more, right?
Well, less movement on the mound, less time between pitches, less time it takes you to deliver the pitch. So he's really sped up everything. Nice play by Cairo.
Takes a hit away there from Logan Morrison and gets the first out of the 8th.
It's like Logan Morrison trying to take a page out of the book of Jose Reyes or Emilio Bonifacio, just trying to slap the ball the other way. Good reaction by Cairo. He's got to jump at just the right time and still getting up there for a veteran.
Here's Infante. RBI single back in the 4th. 1 for 3 in this game. Chapman trying to keep this a 1-run affair. Cairo again. Scoop by Joey Votto. Nicely done. Get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live is everything you need to know for the upcoming game, and it's only on your exclusive home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Gabby Sanchez batting for the first time. Sanchez 1 out of 8 in the series, 1 for 11 on the year. Struck out a pair of times last night. Took over at second base for Dobbs as a pinch runner in the 7th after Dobbs had been hit in the knee. Looked like it was right on the knee. Left-handed batter in what would be his left knee, his back knee. Stayed in the game at first, went on to second, but then when the play ended, Ozzie Guillen lifted him, put Sanchez in, and he took over at first. He is very tardy there.
Well, you know, you're trying to prepare for a fastball that comes in there in the high 90s, and you think you can do it, but in the daytime like this, you're squinting a little bit. The ball gets on you just so quick. That and the fact that Aroldis Chapman's a big, long-legged, long-armed pitcher, too, so he has a big, long stride, and he gets way out over his right knee, and by the time that he really releases the ball, he's probably about 53 feet from home plate rather than 60 feet from home plate. So you can factor in that as in addition to that high radar gun reading.
He gets him. Sanchez is out, and a 1-2-3 inning turned in by the left-hander Aroldis Chapman. So we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Reds down 5-4. For the 28th, make sure you take advantage of the first Reds 4 for $48 ticket package. That includes 4 view-level tickets and a voucher for a free La Rosa's pizza. Plus, the first 20,000 fans through the gates receive a Reds fleece blanket presented by Duke Energy Retail. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com. New pitcher on for the Marlins, following Zambrano, following Cishek, Edward Mujica.
He's been a couple of years with the Marlins now. He was there last year. We saw him a couple of years ago with the San Diego Padres. Before that with the Cleveland Indians. Hard-throwing right-hander. Figures to be the setup guy, the main setup guy anyway, for Ozzie Guillen in front of Heath Bell.
He gets the top of the Reds order, featuring Phillips. Mujica 1 inning, 2 runs, 2 hits on opening day. Gave up the home run ball to Jay Bruce in the 8th, and later a pinch hit RBI double to Heisey. He gets Phillips, Cozart, Votto here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Reds down a run 5-4.
Now, Mujica came over here to the Marlins in exchange for a couple of players, one being Cameron Maybin, who went to the Padres, and another Ryan Webb. Or actually the Marlins acquired Ryan Webb and Mujica in exchange for Cameron Maybin.
Ramirez guarding the line now here in the late innings of this game, down at third. Brandon today, a couple of hits, 2 out of 3.
Now, one guy the Marlins are missing in their bullpen that they hope to get back at some point this season. A man named Juan Oviedo, formerly known as Leo Nunez.
Yeah, their former closer, right?
Former closer. It was discovered last year that he falsified his name when he was 17 years old. It took on the name of Leo Nunez in order to get a bigger signing bonus by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he went years in the major leagues before anybody found out about it. And then when they finally did find out, he had to go back to the Dominican Republic to take care of that business. And he's been unable to get a visa to return him back to the United States. Now, as of April 1st, Major League Baseball said that he will be suspended for a short period of time, I think 4 to 6 weeks. after he comes back. But before you even remove from the suspended list, you've got to get a visa to get over here.
Luque went up the ladder to get that ball, and Phillips is the first out of the bottom of the 8th inning. Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTN Food Group help you with great tasting, healthier products for your menu. JTN. Here's Cozart. 1 for 3, an RBI double in the first inning. Even with the bag now down at third is Ramirez.
There's still Masvera translating for Ryan Hannigan as they try to discuss something with Aroldis Chapman. Masvera not only is translator, but he is one of the assistant trainers that the Reds have on staff.
Cozart, one bad one away from reaching base as the tying run here in the bottom of the 8th. Big part of the Reds' order still to come. Votto on deck, then Ludwig, then Bruce. Down the left field line, chasing it, but it's out of play.
Young man looks very confident at the plate. You know he can pick it in the field. He's got a great arm, good speed, nice foot speed where he can cover some ground out there. But boy, you just have to be impressed with what seems to be great stage presence in the batter's box.
There is ball 4, and so the tying run aboard with 1 out here in the 8th. Third walk given to the Reds today. It was Votto in the 4th inning last night after a Cozart triple. Joey went deep with the Reds down a run, giving them a 1-run lead at 2-1. Today 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored.
What they're trying to keep away from Joey Votto with fastballs, and they seem to be attacking Votto up and in with breaking balls. Happened a couple of times last night with Ricky Nolasco.
Joey down a ball and 2 strikes. Boy, that was close right there, as that was an Votto swing, protective swing there. He broke his bat.
Well, that would have been a double had he been able to keep that ball fair, and this is what the Marlins are trying to prevent. Look how deep these outfielders are playing. I mean, they're playing a little fence hugging right here. They want to make sure that Votto doesn't get to second base. They'll give up the tying run, but not the go-ahead run right here. That's baseball's version of the prevent defense.
Part of the bat, that's what Joey's going out after. A piece of the bat from the broken bat laying out there.
That baby on eBay.
Votto swings and misses at that pitch, and He's a strikeout victim. That's the second out of the inning. Joey fans for the second time.
You know, the same thing happened last night for Joey Votto when he was facing Ricky Nolasco. Had a couple of situations where he thought he was getting fastballs, and then late in the count they're throwing him breaking balls, and he just misses them getting out in front of him a little bit. Still really not locked in like we've seen him, despite the fact that he hit a long opposite field classic Votto home run last night.
So here's Ryan Ludwig. He's walked, grounded out, flied out today. He's 0 for 2. Reds had a 3-run lead early, a couple of 2-run leads, but now trail by a run. A deep outfield playing there by Stanton pays off as he just goes back a couple of steps and onto the track to haul that drive in from Ludwig, ending the Reds' 8th inning. So we head to the 9th, still down by a run. Third on that smash by Logan Morrison in the top of the 8th inning, taking extra bases away from the Marlins left fielder. Cairo with a John Merrill hot dog play of the game. Chapman back to work, 9th inning. Reds have been out hit 10-4, but only outscored by a run at 5-4. Aroldis gets Brett Hayes to lead it off. Then the pitcher's spot. Then the top of the order. Marlins have an infielder, Donnie Murphy, on deck to bat for Mujica. No doubt if it stays a safe situation, we will see Heath Bell for the second consecutive game. Hayes is 1 for 3. He cannot catch up right there with that 97-mile-an-hour heater. Chance for Bruce. That's the first out of the 9th. Chapman has faced 7 batters this year, retired them all, and now Donnie Murphy off the Marlins bench to bat for Mujica. Murphy appearing for the first time this year. Jose Reyes waits on deck. Murphy last year got into 36 games with this Marlins club. Also has big league time with Kansas City and Oakland. 185 in terms of an average last year for the then Florida Marlins. Tries to hold up, cannot. And he's down a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he got it. Takes quick work of the pinch hitter Murphy, and there are 2 men out. This MLB on Fox season, Fox Sports, proud to support Boys and Girls Clubs of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. 2 out for Reyes. Switch hitter turns around and bats from the right side. He'll split the outfielders. That ball will go to the wall right in front of the Reds bullpen. He's going to round second. He's going to end up at third. And the triples machine, which is Jose Reyes, Gets a 2-out triple here in the ninth.
Now, this is not an easy ballpark to hit a triple in. We did see one last night with Zach Cozart. But Jose Reyes, you're right, he is a triple machine, because once he gets going, he can pick him up and put him down. Slices the gap right here, drops the head on a hard fastball from Chapman, and that ball goes all the way to the gap. A double for most people, but not Jose Reyes.
He led the National League as a Mets player last year with 16 triples, marking the 4th time in his career he has led the league in 3 base hits. Now it's Bonifacio, the other switch hitter. He turns around and bats from the right side.
What would you rather do, run like Reyes or throw like Chapman?
You know, that's one of those toss-a-coiners right there. I think I'd rather throw like Chapman.
I'm with you.
Brian Price is going to go to the mound after that ball fouled off by Bonifacio. Cairo will come in
and act as translator.
Hannigan out there as well. What do you think this is all about? Kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it does. I think they want to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake right here. You know what? I really don't know what it could be about. It could be, do you want to pitch out of the stretch position as opposed to out of the full windup? Or it could be that the Reds are set on the way they want to go after Bonifacio when he bats right-handed, and don't forget it. So with a fresh scouting report, that could have been the message.
Only had one at bat this year batting from the right side. Reyes, a big run down there at third in a 5-4 game. Marlins in front. Easter Sunday crowd of over 23,000. 23,539. Great placement there, right at the knees. Bonifacio disagreed. 1 and 2.
Well, according to the career stats, that Emilio Bonifacio is a much better hitter batting right-handed than he is left-handed. Hard to hit that last pitch, though.
Yeah, he's over 300 from the right side, and what, right in the 250 area batting left. That one hit triple digits. 100 miles an hour on that one, fouled away by Bonifacio. 2 for 4 for this switch hitting outfielder so far today. And he got it. Triple digits again. 100 miles an hour for Chapman. Bonifacio in the books. And the Reds come up in the bottom of the ninth. Down 5-4. That'll lead it off. That leads us right into our Miller time moment of this afternoon's game. Back in the 6th inning against Zambrano. Number 2 of the year for Bruce into the sun deck. That made it a 4-2 game in favor of the Reds at the time. Let's see if he has another Miller time moment in him right here. And for nothing else, just to get on base. Reds need a run to tie, 2 to win, bottom of the ninth. Trailing 5-4, Heath Bell, Chris, into the game.
Well, he has had 132 saves to his credit over the last 3 years. Heath Bell has, going back, of course, to his last 3 years in San Diego. Originally came on the scene as a member of the New York Mets in 2004. Was in the ball game last night, his first game of the year. Not a save situation. Hard thrower, little herky-jerky motion.
Talked about Zambrano being a big guy. How about Heath Bell?
Same way, they've got him at 6'3", 250. Better beat those guys in the spread table.
Indeed. Bruce to lead it off. A couple of RBIs in this game, 4 on the year. Outfield deep, infield deep. Bruce lays off. He's at a ball, a strike.
Kind of an unusual delivery for Heath Bell, really, because for a big guy, I mean, he's 6'3", He doesn't have a real long stride. He uses a lot of his upper body strength to generate the speed on the baseball. Kind of a herky-jerky little left leg kick, straightens it out, puts his leg down. Next thing you know, he's throwing with his arm.
The other way to the alley in left center field. Did it get out? It sure did. Jay Bruce, a 2-homer game. That one going the opposite field, and the Reds have tied it 5-5 here in the bottom of the ninth. That one looked like it just got over the wall.
It looked like it was going to die before it got to the wall. That's the kind of amazing power that Jay Bruce has. He put the solid part of the bat on it. It goes a long way. He could not have picked a better time to hit his third home run of the year, taking it the other way. And his 3 home runs he has for the Reds, 1 to left center, 1 to center, 1 to right center.
Solo in the 6th, solo in the 9th. 12th multi-home run game of his career for Jay Bruce. He had 1 last year. Look at that thing. Just getting over the wall. 379. Now it's Miguel Cairo. Bell had 5 blown saves a year ago. There's the young man. Happy with that souvenir. He's got the Red spring training hat on. Got himself a Jay Bruce home run ball. He won't be talking about that in school tomorrow. Cairo in the air to right, but playable. That's the first out of the bottom of the ninth. Bronson Arroyo off the hook in this game, and Carlos Zambrano, with his 5 strong innings after the first, will not come up with his first Marlins win. Here's Drew Stubbs. 0 for 3 in this game, 1 for 9 on the year. He's capable of sending this crowd home happy. Drew last year 15 home runs. A 5-5 game here in the bottom of the ninth. Hannigan waiting on deck. Then the pitcher's spot. Two and one. Reds have given up a lead here today. Marlins have given up the lead. 5-5 in the bottom of the ninth. Rubber game of the series. Stubbs thought about it, didn't he? Trying to go to second.
He got away from Billy Hatcher down there, and that wasn't necessarily a wave that said go ahead and go to second base. It's don't run through the bag. They didn't field it. Go ahead and take a turn and look. And at the other end of that, Jose Reyes was on it lickety split. Ball goes right off the glove of Hanley Ramirez and slows down, goes into shallow left field. That time it looks like it might be a double, but Reyes got on it quickly and held Stubbs to a single.
Now it's Hannigan with Rolen on deck. You have in mind here about sending Stubbs to second? What do you think?
I like the idea, even though Bell has been pretty good. Last year he gave up only 4 stolen bases. The year before in San Diego, 3 stolen bases and 3 throw-em-outs. But I think this is why you have a guy who is speedy like that. It's not how many you steal, it's when you steal them. And he does not have a big lead right now. He's getting back. It doesn't indicate to me right now that he's in a stolen base lead. When you get back to the bag as easily as he does, a couple of steps standing up. Now a little bigger lead now, but not much.
Hannigan laid off that pitch, thought it was high.
Well, he'll lay off a couple of pitches anyway. Perfect guy to have in this situation, to be able to give the runner a couple of pitches if he wants to have a stolen base.
Drew has not attempted a steal yet this year. He was 40 of 50, 2011.
Quicker move now by Bell, and the dive back by Drew Stubbs may give you a little different feeling about what he's thinking here. On a 0-1 count. Again, the Marlins playing deep. They cannot afford to let Stubbs score on a double.
Hit into right. Stubbs will get over to third. Look at him go. First and third. And the ball skips by the third baseman on a short hop throw from Stanton, but luckily Heath Bell was right there.
And that ball nearly got away from Heath Bell and rolled slowly into the camera well, and that would have been all she wrote.
Stanton really did not appear to have a shot at Stubbs at third, and when that throw short hopped Ramirez over there, boy, Heath Bell was just in the right spot at the right time.
Well, that is classic Ryan Hannigan right there. Inside out, not trying to do too much. Strong arm by Stanton. But the ball gets by Ramirez. And Heath Bell does the right thing. He gets over there to back up third base, because if he doesn't, this ball game is over.
You don't see Bell, but he was right there out of the picture. There's no fencing in front of that area just past the dugout.
There's just a little bit of a lip of the concrete frame of where that camera well is. But even a slow rolling ball would go over that and go out of play. Now a lot of options open for Dusty Baker. The Marlins are up against the wall. They've got to bring their outfield way in to the point at which they can throw out Drew Stubbs on a sacrifice fly. Where they are right now, they're too deep, because there's no way any of them can throw out Stubbs from where they're playing.
They are in, but not far enough.
Do you squeeze them in? Do you let them swing away? Do you wait on a couple of pitches?
Scott Rolen is pinch hitting here.
Everybody in the ballpark on their feet.
Stubbs, the winning run at third base. Hannigan hit, put him over there. Rolen last night 0 for 4. 1 for 7 on the year. Strike.
You know, they practice in batting practice, hitting runs, bunts, getting the runner over, and they also have a situation where they practice getting the ball into the air that drive them in from third with less than 2 outs. What you're looking for right here is a nice lazy fly ball to deep center field.
In the air toward foul ground and out of play. That brings up a great question, Chris. If you're Stanton out there and that ball is in foul ground but catchable, do you make the catch on that ball?
Not on that play, because there's such little foul ground over there. If you have any kind of interference with the fencing or have to throw over the head of the ball boy down there, you just don't have it's a risky throw. Reminds me of the play that George Foster, though, did in the 1975 World Series.
Just thinking the exact same thing.
What a heroic heave that was.
Hard to third. Bobbled. No play. Reds win it. Ramirez did not come up and throw at all. Rolen is credited with an infield hit. That's a game-winning hit as Stubbs scores, and the Reds get 2 in the bottom of the 9th and pull out a 6-5 win over the Marlins, and in doing so, take 2 out of 3 in the series.
Well, nothing like a good old-fashioned walk-off win on Easter Sunday. The Reds' first walk-off of the year. It was an exciting ball game for all those 25,000 plus that stayed around. They were treated to this. A hot shot down to third. Ramirez doesn't backhand it, and he realizes right there there's no way to turn a double play. Can't get the handle on it. Scott Rolen with a scalding ground ball wins this ball game, and the Reds prevail over the Marlins. That's the way she wrote it today.
You can't beat it at all on Easter Sunday. Joyous Reds, big crowd of over 23,000. They'll leave the ballpark happy. The Reds go into the Cardinal series with a little momentum at 2-1 after the win here today. Let's go downstairs right now with Jim Day on the set. Jim.
You said it, boys. Nothing like a walk-off win on Easter Sunday as the Reds rally for 2 in the 9th inning. We've got a lot to talk about on this edition